Today we're doing a men's full back wax and I'm switching it up for you guys and using a gel-based wax. So we're using Rebel Wax, Pink Shimmer, and Blue Gummy mixed 50-50. First, we're starting with a pre-wax cleanser per usual. Then we're going to do a pre-wax oil. You do want to make sure you're being pretty thorough with this, and then we will just go ahead and wipe away any excess oil. So the key is that you do not want to see any shine left behind on the skin. So I like to use two, so I'm covering a little bit more surface area at once. We don't want to make this process take a really long time, but we also want to be thorough at the same time, okay? Go ahead and wipe away any excess oil. You may be wondering, what's the point of oil if you're just going to wipe it away? You're still going to get the benefits of the oil. It's just like conditioning your hair. Even though you rinse away the conditioner, you still feel the effects of it. The skin's hydrated, the hair's hydrated, we have a nice barrier protecting the skin, so do not skip this step. I don't use powder unless necessary. When's the time that it could be necessary? If they are perspiring, if your room's really warm. That's not the case right now, so we are opting out of powder. I always have it on hand in case needed though. First step for back wax is creating a base strip so that we have a nice clean area, hair free, where we can pull our strips into, which I call those strips tiger stripes. So we're gonna be using a large basic strip. If you are unfamiliar with what that term is, go ahead and take my free 6-week online course, and I teach all the different strips that you need to know, and I have tons of demos in there for you guys as well. So I am just creating this base so that I have a nice clean area to work with and lay the lip of my strip going forward. One thing with the gel-based wax is it's gonna have a little bit of a slower setting time. Since I am working with a little bit thicker or density, like a larger amount of hair, I would say, then I'm going to make my strips a little bit thicker. My first time waxing him, I need to see how his hair does when we go to remove. So it's gonna take a little bit longer to set. But normally you would be laying multiple strips at a time. So these first base strips are the only areas where you're gonna feel like you're laying a strip and then you're just kind of standing around waiting for them to set. You wanna remove when it's still tacky. Get a good little lift here. Okay, deep breath and remove. Okay, so his hair comes out awesome. How was that?
Good.
Not too bad?
No.
Look at that. That was a good removal. Okay, so now after doing that first strip, I always like to thicken it up for the first time just so I can really see how his hair does. Sometimes it feels like it's really wanting to like pull back and work against you. Hair came out great. So now I can make my strips a little bit thinner. So this is one of the learning curves, I would say, or adjustments needing to be made with a gel-based wax, is you may feel like it's taking forever to set, but it's really, you want to make your strips nice and thin. Once you get used to that, it's fantastic because you're going to go through so much less wax. So your profit margins are going to increase. If you are new and still just figuring this out, you may want to opt for using a 50-50, which is going to be a cream and gel mixed together. All right, so see how I brought that strip down past the hairline? So now I can get a really good grip here without causing too much discomfort to him. All right, and get a little lift here, one more deep breath, and pull all the way through. You can see all that sheathing there. Just fantastic. Now, pinpoint bleeding is super normal. He doesn't have a ton. We have a little bit going on right here. Super normal. Never just allow your clients to leave with that. We're gonna cleanse him at the end. But you wanna point that out and explain what that is so that they don't feel like something wrong is happening. So I just asked what his pain level was. He said a 2 or 3, so we're doing pretty good. We are doing pretty good. And he's been waxed before, just first time with me, but it's been a little while. All right, so you would treat this like circumstance as if they are first time waxer. Now we're gonna start doing our tiger stripes. Just kind of pick an area to get started, and now we'll be laying 2 at a time. So we're going to be using more of a small basic method now rather than the large, and we will be laying multiple at a time. Still want to pull that lip up into the area that is free of hair now. Now, I can tell his body temperature is definitely warming up a bit, which is totally normal. So I turned off the heater that I have here in my treatment room. I do not have AC in here, so if his body temperature continues to get a little bit warm, gel wax does not work super well with that. So I have my 50-50 blend on hand, so I can kind of show you guys how I would pivot and adjust based on that circumstance there, which is super, super common. So I really recommend you guys always have on hand some cream wax as well, because that's what's gonna help combat any heat issues, whether it's the heat of your treatment room or body temperature. Okay, deep breath. Make sure you're removing in a downward motion. So we're not going this way and tugging on the skin here and potentially lifting. We wanna go parallel. I like to use sometimes previous strips if I didn't make a really thick lip to help me get a little grip there. I waited a little long. Here we go, deep breath. And see how I'm using my left hand to hold his skin taut this way? Really, really important. For men's full back, sometimes you want, if you have an adjustable treatment table, you may want to lower it a little bit just so you can have an easier view of the other side, or it would be helpful for me to have a stool in here as well. So I'm going to make sure to double check this side before we move on to make sure I'm like not leaving behind random strips of hair. I like to use my stick that I used to lay the previous strip to just kind of clean up residue as we go, so I don't make it difficult for myself at the very end of the service having a bunch of wax residue to clean up. Using really good pressure, making sure I'm staying on my edge. No buttering. And create your lip. I love the tackiness of a gel wax because the grip is absolutely insane. You're going to go through so many less cleanup strips. Deep breath, one more. So I did that one in two so that I could make sure I'm really staying parallel. Being from this position, it would be difficult for me to pull all the way through staying parallel. So don't be afraid to kind of adjust that as needed too. Give that a little bit more time. We always want to be laying or removing. So now that his body temperature is rising a little bit, the strips may take a little bit longer to set, but that just gives us more time to be laying another strip. You always want to be laying or removing, super important. All right, get a grip here. Deep breath, more. Go fast, pull through, okay? Always apply pressure afterwards too. You don't necessarily want to rub, that can be uncomfortable, but I just apply some pressure, take away that sting. But you can see all that sheathing, which is fantastic. Always check your strips, make sure that you're not breaking the hairs off and they're actually being removed from the root. All right. I love when the grow out is like this too. It's very clear where we've been and have not been yet. So it's very easy when it comes to your patterns. So how long should a back wax take you? If you are a beginner, I would give yourself at least an hour. The goal really is to get this down ultimately to a 30-minute service time. At one point, I was doing 15-minute full backs. I feel like it's unnecessary stress to be racing the clock like that. So I really think a solid starting point is an hour and a really solid goal is 30 minutes. Breath. Now when I tell my client to take a deep breath, I don't actually wait for them to take a deep breath. By the time they think about doing that, I've already removed the strip. Never count down your removal either. It really is unnecessary. Deep breath, more anxiety for the client. You don't want to count down, just get that sucker off. All right, you can see we're moving along pretty quickly here, and this wax is doing such a great job that we're really not gonna have to do much on the cleanup strip side, so awesome, awesome. If you guys are curious about this combo I'm using, it's actually our pink shimmer and blue gummy mixed together 50-50. Now we do not have our pre-mixed bags anymore, but something new we have available on our website is our 10-pound combos. You can choose 5 pounds of any formula, create your own mixture, and get the discounted 10-pound pricing. Go ahead and check it out here, and you can use the code SHOP to save an additional 10%. Always make sure too that you guys are stirring your wax pot so that you have a really nice even consistency. I can tell my pot needs a little bit of a stir here. So when I stir, I just scrape the sides and kind of fold that up into the middle, because the heating mechanism is around the edge of the pot. So you want to pull all that warm wax, bring it to the middle, and push that middle wax out to the heating mechanism, to the outer part of the pot. If your wax is too cool, especially with a gel-based wax, it's gonna feel a little bit hard to spread. Deposit. Here. You can see too how the strip kind of turns like this opaque white color. That's a pretty good way to tell when it's ready to be pulled. And we don't want to let it set too long to where it's lost its tackiness and it gets really hard. This is almost waiting a little bit too long. You want to remove it when it's still tacky. So say you create your lip too thick, so it's not going to allow you to remove it in the right timing because the rest is set, but your lip is too thick. You can always come through and kind of spread it out that way as well. So just keep that in mind. And get a little grip, one more deep breath. Okay, so you can see this right here, how there's kind of teeny little bumps potentially forming. That is either pseudofolliculitis, which I kind of doubt, or a histamine reaction. Super, super common on men's full back, chest, and stomach, really. So what do we do about it? I have a product on hand called Just Calm Down, which is a topical antihistamine. So I'm gonna apply that directly after this service. Also, if he were someone to come back for a service again in the future, I would recommend to take a Claritin like 30 to 45 minutes prior to the appointment, so that you have the internal antihistamine and the external. This doesn't mean that you did anything wrong, that there's anything wrong with the product. It's just sometimes people's body's natural reaction to trauma, and technically removing the hair from the root is a form of trauma to the body. So it's like a defense mechanism. It's being overly stimulated. So usually it takes about 24 hours to calm down. With this product, Just Calm Down, which you can get a link here, use my code BREE10, and you can shop that product. It's really, really important and good thing to have on hand.
Yeah, I take like Claritin and a Labor twice a day.
Oh, do you? Mm-hmm. Oh, well that should, maybe it makes it not hopefully as bad as it could potentially be then. By the way, those of you on the tube, you know my cousin Jake well, because you saw his demos. He broke his kneecap playing basketball, and he told us that he won't be a demo anymore. So very, very disappointed to have lost him as our demo model, but I pass along all your love that you guys gave him. He feels like he's YouTube famous now. He appreciates all the love. You probably noticed too, I only work from one side of the treatment table. I really don't like walking back and forth. It can just really amp up the total service time. But like I mentioned earlier, it would have been beneficial for me to lower my treatment table a little bit. All right, so if you feel like you're in an awkward position to properly lay the strip, this is a time when you can totally just come to the head of the treatment table over here so that their head isn't in your way, to make sure you're using proper technique when laying this strip. I'm also being careful not to get into the shoulder area, just so we can make sure everything blends nicely. That is a great add-on to have available. Brad, a little more. Shoulders is a very common add-on with back waxes. All right, I have to do a little cleanup over on the side here, so while that sets, I'm going to do that. A little grip here. Quick pulls all the way through, immediate pressure every time, okay? All right, I'll have you look down again. That'll help me kind of get this strip perfect. Deep breath. All right, let's get this cleared up. Deep breath. All right, so I'm just kind of cleaning this side up over here, make sure everything's nice and even. Since this is the side I could not see well, but I did pretty good. Attention to detail, you guys. Make sure you are really completing the service in full. That's what's gonna keep people coming back. Don't try to rush things and skip steps, okay? Left, deep breath. There we go. All right, we're gonna give a quick glance over. We really don't have to do much on the cleanup department at all because this wax is so solid, has such a great grip. There's little tiny guys, and I'm actually gonna go for the 50-50 for these cleanup strips. So we go against the hair growth. This may feel a little bit on the warmer side just because we're going over an area again. This is really good. Hair came out awesome. I like to remove it when it's still really tacky, so it's not like the prettiest removal, but look how effective that is. All right, one right here, and then we're solid. We're gonna put Just Calm Down on his skin, and then we are done. So if you guys want to learn about pricing your services, you can go ahead and watch the next video that's going to pop up on your screen in a few seconds. And if you want to see another back wax demo, you can go ahead and click on that video as well. I'm just kidding. I'm not doing that. Like Vanna White. It's going to feel like nice and soothing. Does it feel good? Mm-hmm. It's like kind of menthol-y, but it's a topical antihistamine, so it should help this to go down a little bit. All right, we did it. Yay. Awesome.